What did you think of your wet welcome today?
Very good. I thought they were very nice coming out in all that rain.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you enjoy the rain?
Oh,
Yeah, well,
funny
seeing
standing
as
there in your new coat.
Seeing as they got soaked, though, you know, we didn't mind, did
We'd like to pay a tribute for you coming on the open cut in that cut round, because the kids have been waiting all night and they appreciated it.
Well, they deserved it, didn't they, waiting all night?
I hope you were wearing drip-dry clothes, were you?
No, we thought it was going to be sunny.
George,
and our cases haven't gone
who
yet.
selected the name the Beatles, and how did you derive this particular name with
Well,
the
I think
BEA instead of
John
Beatles?
got the name Beatles
In a vision,
ages ago, you know, when we needed a name and everybody was thinking of a name and he thought of Beatles.
Why the BEA instead of the BE?
Well, actually, you know.
Well, you know, if they left it with BEE, it was hard enough getting people to understand why it was BEA, never mind.
Paul, what do you expect to find here in Australia?
Australians.
Do you have any acknowledged leader of the group?
No, not really.
Paul, we heard you stood on the balcony outside, is that right?
Pardon?
We heard you stood on your head on the balcony outside.
No, you don't have here some rumours.
You didn't stay on your head.
How did the tickets go in Hong Kong? Did you get full houses in?
I think so.
Yeah. No, there was a few 5 quid seats.
You had 5 quid left. Yeah, they were a bit hot, weren't they?
I would heard you. I wouldn't see me in for 5 quid, did you? I wouldn't see any of you for £2.
John, has the Mersey beat changed since you've been playing it?
Oh, well, we still keep on saying there's no such thing as Mersey, just something the press made up, you know.
Well,
we call it
you
rock
play
and
the same
roll.
way now as you did
It's just rock and roll, just so happens we write most of it.
Has Buddy Holly influenced your music at all, John?
He did in the early days, obviously, you know. But, no, well, not obviously, but he was one of the greats, and that. So
So
we liked
James
him.
Thurber, though, didn't he?
Oh yeah, but he doesn't sing so well.
Have you been practicing up your Australian accents?
No, Carl, we're not at all. We can't get it, you know. All
Do
I
you think
got-
you'll be writing any songs with Australian themes when you hear them?
No, we never write themes about anything, you know. Just write the same rubbish all the time.
You play the kind of music you want to play, or the kind of music you think people want to hear?
No, we've been playing this kind of music for about 5 or 6 years or something like that. It's just rock and roll, you know. It just happens we write it.
Well, what do you think made the difference that suddenly put you up above the other groups?
Well,
We got a record contract.
Speaking of records, what record do you all agree on, generally, as your best recording? Not the best seller, but as the best recording musically.
You mean our favourite?
well, we always like the one we just made, don't we? So it's Long Shot Sally for me.
This is your latest
I
one.
like.
Well, it's quite new, you know.
I like. It's not even a single.
I like.
Sorry. I like You Can't Do That.
What do you like, Jimmy?
What about you, Jim? You haven't said anything.
Yeah,
How do you
I like
feel,
that
Jimmy,
one.
being in with the Beatles?
Pardon?
How do you feel being in with the Beatles, a newcomer, standing in for Ringo?
It's a good experience, man.
How is
Marvellous.
Ringo?
He's much better. He joins them on Sunday.
What do you do then, Jim?
I go back to London and they're fixing up a band for me, and I do some television.
And he's away.
You've been progressing pretty well with your Beatle haircut.
Yeah, well, I've been growing it for about 3 months.
How long does it take to get a magnificent mane like this?
I don't know, I can't remember being without it.
Do you ever go to the barbers, John?
No, you know, I haven't had my haircut since the woman on the film cut it good, but I don't trust anybody else. So
This is the film Beatlemania, is it?
no, it's not
it's
called
not
that. That's
called
another story.
It's got Hard Day's
Hard
Night.
Day's Night, it's called.
Are you satisfied with the finished product?
Well, it's as good as anybody that makes a film who can't act, you know.
Are you individually millionaires yet?
No, that's another lousy rumour, which is
Brian Epstein, a millionaire.
No, even he's not one, poor fellow.
Where does all the money go?
Well, a lot of it goes to Her Majesty.
She's a millionaire.
Isn't it a bit disconcerting when you go on stage and do your numbers and nobody hears them because all the girls are screaming?
Well, it's usually adults who don't hear them. You know, like in Hong Kong, in the paper it said, the Beatles fought a losing battle against the screams. Now, compared with other people, they were quite quiet, you know, they were still shouting. And most of the kids could hear it, but adults went out thinking, I couldn't hear a thing.
Are you very conscious of your responsibilities? I mean, teenagers dwell on your every comment and action. Do you feel very responsible towards this?
No, we just sort of behave as normally as we can, you know. We don't feel as though we should preach this and tell them that, you know, let them do what they like.
You know, we never used to believe it when in the old days we used to open a magazine and it'd say so-and-so doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't go out late. We used to do it. It's funny. So I mean, you know, we just act normally. and just hope that other people don't think we're a bit funny.
Now, you say you act normally, but how can you? How can you when you're getting so much money, when everywhere you go people are pressing around and they can't see anything?
Well, you know, I mean, normal in the
As
in the
normal as we
environment.
can.
In the
then,
environment that
environment.
surrounds you, like, well, you're not as normal as you
right.
can, don't you?
Correct, correct, right.
Plus the original record after about 8 years coming back and topping the charts around the world.
Well, it hasn't topped the charts around the world yet, has it?
I think
If
it's
it does,
sold
I
a
think
lot
it's
Sold a lot
here.
out here.
Sold a lot here, but I don't think it's selling very well.
If it
Not
does,
as good
we're
as the
glad,
other
because
one,
that's what we like rock and roll, you know, that all
Eh?
starts again, goody-goody.
And also you brought back in England with the Beatles, the advent of the Beatles, people like Jerry Lee Lewis and
Yeah.
Little Richard have
Carl
once again become
Perkins
big
as
names,
well.
haven't they?
Yeah, but there were always groups of people who liked them. You know, especially in places like Liverpool. There were always sort of staunch groups of fans who've never gone off people like that. Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee, Little
So
Richard.
you've more or
and
less
those.
revived rock and roll.
Well, you know, revived interest in the beat music, that's all, really.
How do you fellows feel about the sort of music that people like 10, 12, 15 years ago, Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, this type of tune? Do you like it, or do you only like rock and roll?
No, but that's not the point. You know, recently Ella Fitzgerald's done...
Errol.
Ella Fitzgerald did Can't Buy Me Love. Have you heard it? Well,
She did it like Ella Fitzgerald.
yeah, so you know, it
Not going
doesn't...
to do it like Frank Sinatra.
This would be a great compliment to your voice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean-
Recording a
Flattered,
tune?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was flat.
You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be jazz. Because it's one of our songs, you know, we don't reckon we write jazz.
What
She
you
sort
like
of did
that
it
kind
with the
of
jazz. Yeah, it's nice.
You just don't
We're not-
only like the modern...
We like all kinds of music. You know, whatever appeals to us, if it's good music for us. And it's good. I don't know.
Got lost again.
Got
Do you
lost.
find much jealousy amongst other groups in England about you? Not come across it at all?
Not really, because most of the top groups out there are friends of ours, so there's none of that. You know, the jealousy is only something they mix up in the papers. You know, obviously they've got to keep the sort of thing going.
And then,
So all the groups that are anything over there are sort of best mates. So
and if any of them don't like us, then they don't sort of tell it to our faces. Anyway. They must just say it behind our backs.
What's your favourite entertainment medium? What do you like best, theatre or television or?
I like films.
He's going straight.
You've been quoted as a film star,
No,
is this
you
right,
don't
George?
mean for you mean for us?
For the Beatles, yes.
Oh, I thought you meant for
I
us
think
when
you
we're watching, being entertained. Oh, well, I don't know, really. I think live shows are pretty good.
But they're all good because you get a change.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing again, you know, all of them together.
Is it true that you originally auditioned for 2 record companies before you were finally signed by EMI Records?
yeah,
Yeah.
we made tapes for Decca, and I think
And Pie.
and yeah, but we
In
didn't
fact-
actually go to Pie.
In fact, EMI turned us down first of all.
Yeah.
They did.
Ian, first of
Oh,
all,
you may laugh, you may laugh. But
Don't
they
blame
did.
him after hearing the tape.
And then George Martin, he from EMI, he decided to sign us up just himself, you see.
I think I've got all the songs on.
how many records have you got any idea how many records you have sold around the world?
No, I
just
asked
a
for a
rough
thing.
idea.
I asked our publisher to give me
Last
an
time
idea.
I
He said
heard
it'd
it was
take
around about 30 million.
30
weeks. Was
million.
it big,
I
eh?
don't understand.
Complaining, but you know, it's always raining.
Who owns the Jaguar now? It's Paul, isn't it?
No, it's George.
George.
No,
Do you all read music?
I gave it him.
No,
No.
none of us.
Comics, we're good at comics.
We're talking about how you do like to be entertained. How do you like to be entertained? What's your Busman's holiday?
Films, yeah.
Yeah.
Shows,
All of you?
nightclubs, cabaret, and things like that.
Any
You go to a
modern
nightclub or a
areas?
cabaret with that
Yeah,
mob.
yeah.
I don't
Well,
like
people don't walk
cabaret.
around in mobs, you know.
Is it true you can go to the,
outside.
I know, but I mean, if you go to a nightclub, you're not going to bump into 500 kids, are you?
this
You never
nightclub in
know,
Liverpool, the Blue Angel? Is that a nightclub you can sort of go to and relax?
It was when we
A
were
lot
up
of
there a
friends.
lot, you know. I don't know. A lot of places in Liverpool have got sort of, you know,
Commercialised.
commercialised, so people come from all over the place just to have a look at them, you know. So I don't know now, I haven't been for years.
Have you played the Cavern at all lately?
Haven't played that for, I don't know.
Oh,
John, this might be a good one for you to answer. Did you people want to come to Australia?
So they're not booked completely without our knowledge. We're told that there's a possibility you might be going here or there, and if we didn't like it, we'd say
No, you didn't want to
come. We said, yeah, because, it's the place to go.
Great.
What was your Darwin reception like, by the way?
It's very good. We didn't know.
Yeah, it
we
was
were going
3
to
in the
go.
morning, I think, and we didn't know until we got about an hour away from it.
But apparently the press in down known all day.
Apparently, no, I think they guessed.
Only some fella said that the police have been trying to keep it quiet here all day.
Well, the BOAC spokesman said
Advertising again.
that it wasn't definite, but there was a slight
He's been trying to get one in
possibility.
for hours.
Can I now?
Here he is
Right.
now.
Fellas, did you enjoy doing the Shakespearean excerpt in your TV show?
Yeah.
What?
Except he made us rehearse for days.
And we still got it wrong.
Would you like to play legitimate Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Can't stand it.
Did you like the costumes?
Yeah, they were good for that.
Mod, wasn't
This
it?
lantern doth the owner's moon present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been liking it a lot to the Marx Brothers. Do you find this a compliment? Do you dig this sort of
Well,
thing?
it's a compliment. Well, not for the half. They're funny, aren't they?
When are you going to play the London Palladium?
Oh, we don't know.
Would you like to?
Oh, we've done
We've
it.
done it a couple of times.
I don't know nothing or
See?
about.
What's the
No,
group
we're
you
not
play with
saying.
in England, Jimmy?
Huh?
What's the group you play with in England?
Well, I've played with a lot of groups in England. Just before I left, I was playing with a rhythm and blues band.
You were the
Georgie.
Blue Flames, weren't you, for a while?
Yeah, that's right. Well, only for a matter of days. It was only till Friday I only knew that I was doing this on Wednesday.
Does Brian Epstein manage you?
I don't really. No, he doesn't.
I don't really know. You'd know it if he did.
Jimmy, what was your first reaction when you were told that you were going to play with the Beatles?
I couldn't believe it, really.
Did you have to get their style?
No, we only rehearsed about 5 or 6 numbers, which took up an hour, and then,
Away you went.
yeah.
If one of you
Frightening?
stopped being a
Huh?
Beatle,
Pretty
what
frightening?
The first show was very frightening, yeah. But they reassured
But
me.
he did grand. He did
A grand job he did, that.
Grand job.
Excellent.
George, if one of you stopped being a Beatle, what do you think you'd do?
I think I'd train elephants in the zoo.
It's reported that you're the keen businessman of the group, is that right?
Well, yes, that's what they said in the paper. But, I've never heard of it. It's a new one on me. And maybe, I don't know.
Do you have a
haven't tried
contract
yet.
to remain together as a group known as the Beatles? In other words, do you have contracts between yourselves?
Well, we're a partnership.
There's
I
some
think,
sort
if
of a
that's what you
contract.
mean.
No, what I meant
Oh,
was
you mean
possibly
personally,
could
just-
George suddenly decide to leave the Beatles group? Could you do that?
I think we could.
Well,
Of course he could, because we wouldn't stop him.
no,
Even if they had a
leave,
contract.
but even
We'd
if-
have trying to keep him there,
Standing on
struggling.
stage.
I think there is a contract.
Not wanting to play.
That's what I
There is a contract between the 4 of us, but if I wanted to leave, then they wouldn't try and stop me, or they wouldn't sue me, I don't think. Would you, fellas?
Now, apparently you earn many, many thousands of pounds a year, but how much money do you actually get to spend from your manager?
Well, we don't get money from him, we get money from our accountant, All our money
Are you
goes
on a
to
regular
him.
basis?
Yeah, well, we don't hardly need anything, because most things are sort of paid through the company, We just hardly spend anything in cash. Just cigarettes and things, and even that, they bought by our road managers things,
We get a certain amount a week, and we've got at least half of it left. at the
What
end
about
of every
clothing?
week, 'cause we
Does
never
also
use it.
come from the accountant too?
No,
Bills?
well, sometimes.
Yeah, well, usually we get our tailor to, we order a few suits or how many we want, and then he'll send the bill in to the company, because it's much easier for him to do that as well, and it's easier for us.
Only
Now-
got 2 suits.
This leads into the next question. Now, on stage you all dress literally the same, but off stage I notice even here that you're all dressed quite different. Now, is this also something you make up yourselves? Or?
No, you don't want to. Originally we didn't drink.
Who decided you to change from leather suits to natty suits?
It was, I think we
Brian,
decided...
I think it was
Brian
Well,
told us.
he tried to persuade us.
Because when we went down south, it was all right in Liverpool around there, but as soon as we went anywhere else in sort of jeans and leather jackets, they sort of didn't want to know, because they wanted everybody in grey suits doing that.
You single chaps,
You know how they do it.
you single chaps really don't have any firm plans to get married in the next few
No, I don't like the idea of marriage. It's a bit frightening.
Why is that? Tell us more about that.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
And we're all trying to save up a bit before we get married.
Did you enjoy your holidays to Tahiti and the Caribbean, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we met one of your...
Some fella came swimming behind me saying, "You're having a good time," didn't he?
Yeah.
Saying I've come all the way from Sydney.
Yeah, as if it was my fault.
Why did you split up and take your holidays?
People like them.
It makes it harder for people, the press, to catch us up. If we all got together, it's a cinch, going to an airport.
And anyway, besides all that, Paul and Ringo fancied going to wherever they went.
Didn't you ask him something about Liverpool, though? That wasn't the question, was it?
Well, I
Really?
said
Yes, he did.
you coming from Liverpool,
Yeah.
what sort of idea do people in Liverpool have about Australia?
Sorry. He was right.
There's a theory that you're almost as popular with adults as you are with teenagers, and that when teenagers find this out, that they will probably lose interest in you. Do you think this is true?
Yeah, well, go on.
Maybe.
No, I'm not saying a word. I don't know. What do you
A
think?
couple of photographs recently came from America showing all of you, I think it was George and Paul, the one I saw, swimming, but both photographs in different places showed you with shirts on. Now, is this a regular thing to swim with a shirt on?
I think we were only posing for the press, and we weren't really swimming.
Oh, I see.
We were just
But
You might
putting
have
them
been
out
just
in about 2
standing
inches of
or
water.
I don't think we were actually swimming, as it were, with shirts. Because we
Frightened of
always
your white
wear
skin.
overcoats when we're swimming.
White skins with sometime now.
John, what do you attribute to something like Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock, the original record, after about 8 years coming back and topping the charts around the world?
Well, it hasn't topped the charts on the world yet, but
Well,
I think
it
it's
does
sold a
have
lot
the-
come on
here.
out here.
Sold a lot here, but I don't think it's selling very well.
if it does, we're glad, because that's what we like rock and roll, you know. That's all stuff. Then goody.
And also you brought back in England with the Beatles, the advent of the Beatles, people like Jerry Lee Lewis and
Yeah.
Little Richard have
Carl
once again become
Perkins
big
as
names,
well.
haven't they?
Yeah, but there were always groups of people who liked them. You know, especially in places like Liverpool. There were always staunch groups of fans who'd never people.
Behind me saying, "You're having a good time," didn't he?
Yeah.
Saying I've come all the way from Sydney.
Yeah, as if it was my fault.
Why did you split up and take your holidays?
People liked them.
It makes it harder for people, the press, to catch us up. If we all got together, it's a cinch going to an airport.
And anyway, besides all that, Paul and Ringo fancied going to wherever they went, and I don't know what happened to us. Somebody just gave us the tickets. And we just ended up there.
When Jerry and the Pacemakers were out here, they rubbished Australian beer. If you had a go at Australian beer, you tried it?
I'm not keen on
I don't
beer.
like any
Yeah.
beer, really.
What do you like?
Scotch.
Scotch and Coke, yeah.
Teenage Scotch.
Is that a drink that's drunk a lot in England?
No,
I don't
we
know.
got it in Germany because we didn't like German beer.
Apparently the real one's rum and coke. That's the one that everyone knows.
Oh, yeah.
But someone gave us Scotch and
They
coke.
all drink it in Tahiti, we found out.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
their sort of normal drink.
What,
You
Scotch
did
and
the
coke?
Scotch and Tony.
But it's
No,
called
very
Army,
good.
Scotch and Coke.
Yeah. When you work, is it true that you have a lot of coke backstage and drink a lot of coke
Yeah.
while you work?
Well, you know, just cold drinks. I mean, if it happens to be lemonade, it doesn't matter.
How do you feel before a show? Do you feel nervous?
Yeah. Before most
Depends on the
shows.
show, where it is and what it is.
How big it is?
Yeah.
Well, this is a new place.
You know, yeah. Even if it can be a small show and a very new place, and you still get very nervous. You get nervous on the most ridiculous of things too. The Mersey Beat Awards. Remember we got an award from a Liverpool paper, the Mersey Beat, and you know it was only quite a small thing. The award giving compared to some of the big shows we've been doing, but we were all nervous.
Well, Harold
apart
Wilson
from its
was.
value to your act, do you like wearing your hair this way?
Yeah, well, we've had it a long time, and we got used to it. It's like you're native when it was you get it cut.
And it's not as though somebody made us wear it like this.
And
No,
people were
we
wearing
had it
like
like this
years
before
ago,
we
you know.
started making records, didn't we?
Why? Economy?
Pardon?
No, but I mean, it's
It just happened.
stupid the way people can be so odd. I mean, it's only since the First World War I read. You all went round like that because he's cutting the biddies out from the trenches. That's what I read. Before then, you all had it long.
That's right,
the other day.
that's Paul.
Don't believe it.
I do.
Sure, but I
Not my dad.
It's a good excuse.
Not
anyway.
my
Your dad
dad.
in the First World
My
War.
dad's got no biddies. No, he
Got
hasn't.
yours.
Which one? Your dad's a bus driver, isn't he, George?
Well, he was.
He was.
He's got a gold plated book.
What do your family think about all the attention shown?
Well, naturally they like it and they're all proud, and you know, just like if you had a son, what was a Beatle, or even if you didn't, you know, you're bound to like it more than any other club.
You live fairly close together, isn't it?
Yeah.
All fellows who work so close together so often and stay and travel together, you must have an occasional argument. So how do you work it out in your system apart from going away on holiday?
Well, it's usually two against one or three against one.
We never have a serious argument.
Or whoever can shout loudest. Another one.
It's reported that the Rolling Stones will be the comment on that.
Well, it's untrue.
Sometimes other things are reported.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Clark was bigger than us last.
They're
last
big, you know.
month, and Brian Poole the month before.
Record things like that. It's true that, you know, they're not big enough, but they're big. You know, that's the truth.
But they wouldn't have the teenage crowds gathering wherever they appeared, as you boys would.
Well, you know, they're big followers
they're
in
very
Britain.
popular.
This all harks back. Don't make us release as many singles. I mean, a lot of people say the Beatles are slipping because their record's number 15, but they forget it's already sold about 3 million.
Yeah, I mean, but that happened with our second record. No, the third one from EPU. You know, because it sold more than Please Please Me, went out quicker, or something like that. Everyone said, oh, that's it then, you know. And they've done it, every single we've made, well, that's it. You know, so you just give up.
Yeah, and also, the thing about the records now is that they have an awful lot of advance. Is it?
Oh.
All speak. Okay. They have a lot of advance sales, so they come in the first week very high, and then sell for about 2 weeks, and then sort of go out very quickly. They've sold an awful lot of records, but it's still, to people who don't know about the record business, it looks a bit off, you know, and I think that's it.
Did you read the comments that Hal Wallace, the American producer who produced all Presley's films, said about you in a recent
Now, what did he say?
interview? He sort of referred to you as more untalented men, you know, shaggy sort of creatures.
No, Coward said that.
No cowards.
Wonder if they know each other.
Would you look upon this as jealousy, mainly because
you
an
know,
American, because you're not American?
No,
and so
let's
he doesn't
face it, you know, to some people, we've got nothing.
It'd be useless for everybody to like. You've got to have somebody knocking you up, so that people still say, oh, what's he knocking them for? They're all right, aren't they? You know, it's good when people knock you.
It doesn't matter, you know, there's nobody that everybody likes.
You've got a lot of songs up your sleeve that you haven't recorded, that haven't been published, quite naturally. But you still keep writing songs, that's the thing?
Yeah.
Not supply for...
No, but the old songs, you know, most of them aren't very good anyway, you know, they were when we were really starting off. One or two, Love Me Do was an old song.
Do you have any individual ambitions to be more than a member of the singing group the Beatles ultimately?
No.
It's enough.
How many people travel with you in
Depends where we're going.
Three.
Now we've got 3 people. We've got a fellow who looks after the equipment, then our road manager, and then we've got Mr. Eckstein's personal assistant here, Derek Taylor.
Correct.
That's in there.
Correct, Derek?
Yes, right.
He's a comedian.
Does anybody advise you about what sort of songs to record or to release?
No.
No, our A&R man advised. When we've made, say, 2 tracks, he advises us as to which is the more. But it's normally we agree amongst ourselves.
And have George and Ringo ever tried to compose songs?
Yeah.
George is written.
I thought it was always Paul and John.
Well, it is. I mean, they've written every song we've ever recorded except one. And I wrote that one.
When Brian Epstein took over managing you, how did he first promote you? How did he first start promoting you?
Well, when he first started handling us, he wasn't a manager, you know, in show business. He was a director of his father's business.
Come here, fellas, one last question.
So anyway, I'll tell you later.
One last question. Do you enjoy being the Beatles, as much as you did, say, a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different way, of course, but still not.
Well, that just about sums it up. And that's the end of our outside telecast, which was inside what is usually the dining room of the Sheraton Hotel, right opposite
Bye, everybody.
And we'll say a very good afternoon.
Goodbye. Ta-da.
Are these all recordings or are they live?
On air,
Some are filmed, some are...
Oh yeah, that's
Have they treated America very well, gentlemen?
yeah.